Specialty courts evolved as a way to address societal problems that often lead to criminal behavior. Specialty courts also offer an alternative to incarceration while still maintaining public safety. This is done by addressing the root causes of an offender's behavior. Massachusetts operates multiple types of specialty courts, one of which is Veterans Court. Veterans Court is a post-disposition alternative to incarceration. At sentencing, a veteran can request that their case be transferred to the Veterans Court session. If they are deemed appropriate for the court, they start the intensive 18-month probation. To learn more about Veterans Court, I spoke with Judge Mary Hogan Sullivan, who is the Director of Specialty Courts for the District Court in Massachusetts. In 2012, she established the first Veterans Court in Massachusetts. So, do you think you could briefly explain what Veterans Court is and kind of the phases?
It's an intensive probation program. We have 5 phases. Phases 1 and 2, they come every week. Phases 3, they come every 2 weeks. Phase 4, it's every 3 weeks. And phase 5, it's once a month. We require them to be engaged in treatment. We require that they be drug and alcohol and then marijuana free. And we monitor their engagement in treatment and their compliance with the law.
With the number of incarcerations at an all-time high and the costs only getting bigger, I asked Judge Sullivan how much cheaper this program is than opposed to incarceration.
This is clearly much cheaper than locking people up.
Yeah, okay.
Clearly much cheaper. And the other benefit is that because many of these participants are eligible for VA services, they're not utilizing state services. They're utilizing federal services. So the state isn't covering a lot of this, and that's another plus.
I asked Judge Sullivan what the most common challenges the veterans need to overcome to become successful in this program.
Almost all of them have what we call substance use disorder. What I find with this population that's very challenging is the mental illness diagnoses that they have. I would say almost every single one here has a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder.
I wanted to learn more about PTSD, so I sat down with psychoanalyst and psychotherapist Jackie Turpin.
In a nutshell, PTSD is an injury that is difficult for people to see. It's not physical, it's a psychological injury. It's a natural response to experiencing or witnessing a life-threatening event. Basically, there are 4 clusters of symptoms. One is re-experiencing the event. Could be through intrusive thoughts, memories, flashbacks. The second is avoidance of reminders of the event. So it could be avoiding people, avoiding conversations, avoiding places that remind one of the traumatic event. The third is hyperarousal. It's when the body is sort of on high alert and may have a startle response. The last are negative thoughts and beliefs, both about oneself and the world. An example of this is one that I heard publicly at a conference where a returning vet told a story. There was an IED that was planted in a broken down car on the side of the road, and it blew up, and he witnessed his buddies getting killed by the bomb. So then later, when he returned, he was driving down the highway one day with his family in the car, and there was a car in the breakdown lane, and he just immediately was in a wreck, and he thought they were in danger, and he stepped on the gas and was swerving in and out of traffic to try to avoid what he perceived to be a bomb. That's a pretty extreme example.
Can you talk about why substance abuse is an issue for a lot of veterans?
For people who've experienced trauma and haven't received the support and help that they need, they may turn to substances in order to manage some of the symptoms that they're experiencing.